I've been coming here for about 10 years. The best part of harbor fish is you smell the seafood, you hear the ice in the background. I love the fact that they're always ready to just make you the #1 priority.
My personal preference this evening would probably be the swordfish is what I would focus on.
They can walk me through exactly what I'm looking for what recipe. When I was a chef, I could always trust that this is the best quality seafood for my guests, but I love the fact that this is where I shop for my fish for home too. It was the best part of both worlds. I come in here, I see chef friends, I see family friends, but I can trust that not only will the fishmongers here and the cutters and everybody working the counter will help me make the right choices and help me cook this fish the best way it can be. Hi everybody, welcome back to Plate the State. We're going to continue on with our fall-inspired ingredients, and I'm going to show you this great side dish of some of this carnival squash, acorn squash. We have some great brown sugar, espresso-soaked raisins, and some butter. This is going to be one of those side dishes that's so easy to make, but people are going to be talking about it for a while. Each one of these squash we're going to cut into quarters or sixes, okay? All right. And then we're going to scoop out the seeds. Look at these squash from Robin. Look how beautiful they are. So now that these are all cleaned out, we're going to take some of these espresso-soaked raisins. Now raisins are obviously just dried grapes, so they're inherently pretty sweet. So by soaking them in some espresso, it gives them a much needed richness, but also a little bit of bitterness that's going to help out, okay? So as you can see, I'm just sprinkling these around. Don't worry if any fall out onto the pan, okay? Because what's gonna happen is once we get this brown sugar and the butter in there, it's gonna melt out and it's gonna make this nice bubbly caramel almost. And then what we're gonna do is be able to spoon that back on top before we serve it. And then we're just gonna finish with a little bit of salt and pepper. This squash is nice and soft, but I want to show you what would happen if one was a little bit firm. You just want to make a couple hash marks on either side, and that will help the ingredients seep into it, but also make the squash cook a little bit faster and a little bit more tender. Now we want to roast these off 375 degrees for about 30-35 minutes. You'll know if you take a knife and put it into the squash, it comes out, little resistance and the squash is nice and tender, good color on it. Remember, don't worry about all the caramel that is made from the brown sugar. That gets spooned on top. I have some that I've made just to show you, so you can see how the caramel is made and those raisins got a little bit blistered here, and that nice sauce is now seeped into all of the wonderful squash there. Okay.
So I don't mean to interrupt, but I found this and I wasn't sure if this was your attempt at some sort of centerpiece for dinner.
Funny enough, we're gonna make some hors d'oeuvres, and I think hors d'oeuvres are such a great way to shine for the holidays, and I have a really cool idea to show you.
Right.
So this is some bacon wrapped butternut squash that I dressed a little bit of more maple syrup onto the squash so it really gets this nice kind of caramelization color. I have some foraged twigs here. I had a friend of mine just drill a hole into a little piece of wood here. We fit the twigs in there, and then I'm gonna top these off with just a drop of truffle oil on these, okay? They'll naturally soak into the squash. It's gonna really play off that bacon.
The smell is amazing. Truffle is one
Really
of those smells.
Really smells amazing, right? And over here, Maggie, I know you love this vegetarian cuisine, so we have some wonderful roast delicata squash, local goat cheese, oregano, and some honey.
Looks good, this oregano.
Right?
It smells so good, and it's keeping all the flavors of everything to come. Yeah, I'm so excited to eat all this. And you might think that pairing beer and wine with squash is not very inspiring, but we found some great things to go with these.
Right?
So I'm so intrigued to see what you picked to go with this beautiful scape.
Well, it wasn't very hard because beer and bacon go together so great. But Four Rivers Timber Hitch, this red ale beer, caramel notes, kind of like brown bready when you smell it, and it really goes well with the truffle oil, the bacon, the squash. That's a great pair.
And because all celebrations need to start with bubbles, Kat from Sopo Wine Co. recommended this incredible sparkling wine from Armenia that's aged for 22 months in this tiny village. And it's just light, sparkling, and it's a perfect complement to these appetizers and to pretty much start any meal.
It's perfect.